Hi there, my name's Ben and welcome to a shots fired airsoft video on the FN Herstal licensed Cybergun P90. Now this is an AEG, and there is an unboxing a couple of videos ago now where we took a look at this coming out of the box as it arrived to you from the manufacturer, and I was very impressed with the general fit and finish, the licensed trades and the general feel of the P90. So just to sum up, this is a very approachable, easy to use, fully ambidextrous weapons platform. The internals are simple, they work well. My only real gripe is the trigger is not the best. That is actually a fairly standard thing on bullpups because you aren't dealing with a direct trigger. Obviously the gearbox is all the way in the back, so you have a mechanism which transfers that force to that force and then to the trigger. So it's not really a surprise that it isn't the best, but if you know that, then it's not really going to be a problem. This rail works fantastically. I had the camera mounted on it on my little scope mount, and that was pretty handy. No issues with the mag whatsoever, and it really is a good beginner gun all the way up to intermediate or advanced. The only thing I'd really recommend is get yourself a red dot sight, because you will struggle with elevation over longer distances if you don't have a sighted red dot, purely because of the offset between the barrel and the top of the rail. So I've been and fired it, and I'm going to put some firing footage up on the screen. So first up we have the chronograph, and as you can see here, Patrol Base have done a really good job of downgrading this gun to just below 350 FPS, and it fires a real nice consistent 345 to 347 FPS throughout all these shots. Really didn't experience any malfunctions or jams with the gun, no misfeeds, misfires. Mag works perfectly, hot works great, and it really is quite an accurate little beast. The only issue you really come across is in the firing footage. Obviously your rail is located here and this has your sights in it, but obviously your barrel is, well, it's a good 3 inches offset, which isn't really ideal for sighting in terms of height on the target. So what you will see when I shoot is we have a very long column of hits. So the width of the actual, or the spread rather, of the rounds is purely vertical, not width. This is mainly related to me not being able to really sight it in without a red dot sighted in for that kind of different distance, which is kind of a weak spot of the P90. You do sort of really need a sight on it to make it accurate. I mean, let's face it, in airsoft you need to hit a torso at 20 meters. This will easily do that. You just point it in the general direction and fire, and it will get there. Now at the end of this, I do a couple of bursts of full auto fire. So obviously just holding the gun steady. I'm not trying to aim low or high based on the sort of what my eyes are telling me. Just hold it in place, and you can see the actual consistency of the spread of the gun is pretty damn spot on. I mean, you're talking like a 3 by 4 inch sort of ball shape of rounds hitting the target. This is excellent. Unfortunately where I've got, we're not allowed to use full auto, but I would be using full auto all the time if I was allowed to, because it is just great fun. Full auto, this fires about 15 rounds a second on the 9.6 volt battery. I believe the standard one comes with an 8.4, just the basic Cyber edition, which is enough for about sort of 12 to 13 rounds a second. So I think on 11.1 you would probably be seeing sort of around 20 to 22 rounds a second, which obviously is not really approved for the use on these. You will probably burn the trigger mechanism out pretty quick, but it is something to bear in mind. It is quite a fast firing gun. The other thing I wanted to have a look at while we're on the subject is the ease with which this gun will actually break down, and the access to the gearbox is fantastically easy. So I'm just going to start off with the gun fully together, put the mag in, pop that out, pop your front off, and that leaves you with your receiver. We want to get in the back. So the battery's still in there, but it isn't connected. And that leaves us with this big back plate, and there are 2 screws in here. So I believe if I pick up this chap, simply undo those. Try not to lose your screws in the back of your gun. However, they will just drop out once the mag comes out, once the gearbox comes out. See if I can get them out yet. Yes, there we are. This whole back panel will come out. And just make sure you thread your wires very carefully, don't put any undue stress on the connectors. And that will actually allow you to remove the entire gearbox. And so we're left with essentially the shell of the gun. And then we have the gearbox in our hands. It is that simple. So coming back to the table, one of the things that didn't really look at originally was the actual flash hider. And what we're going to do here is just pop off the flash hider. There's a grub screw underneath. Just back it out so it's no longer in contact with the threads, and that will allow you to remove this rather nice heavy metal flash hider. What that reveals underneath is a rather intriguing thread where there's no threads at the bottom and the top half's missing for the first sort of quarter of the thread. Now this is a bit of an issue if you have a short threaded silencer or tracer. So if I just go and grab my tracer quick, I'll show you what I mean and how to get around it. So here we go, I've got my X-Core Mini, and I'm just going to pop that on there. You've got to be careful not to cross thread because the threads are not complete, so it's easy to get it on sideways. You'll see an issue, I still have a piece of barrel exposed and we're not on the full thread, so even when you crank it up, it tries to torque the attachment out of true with the rest of the gun. The way I got around that was there's this nice big locking ring on the front, which if you just pop that off, it has an indent on it which allows it to fit over the front of the gun. I put it on backwards. It takes a little bit of careful threading to get it on there so we don't accidentally cross thread it, and again back on with the tracer. That's not great. However, you'll notice that that tracer is actually sat inside that locking ring, and then you can lock the tracer in place with the ring, and this will actually keep your tracer in position. So it's not going anywhere, it's not going to come off the front, it will work perfectly well, and it's just a way of getting around this sort of weird hard thread. Obviously if you've got a tracer which has a longer neck and will cover this entire barrel assembly, you aren't going to have that problem. So it is mainly down to this having a very short neck for attachment, mainly because it's designed for going on pistols and things like that. Apart from that, there isn't too much else to say. Again, thanks for watching. This has been a Shots Fired Airsoft video. I've been Ben, and you've been looking at a Cybergun P90. Stay tuned on the channel for more content. I've got an overview of the AAP-01, which is a very popular pistol from Action Army coming. I've owned it for about 6 months now, so it's got plenty of rounds for it, and I'm just going to go for a little rundown of the features, things to look out for on the pistol, modifications like short stroking or the issues you'll come into contact with that, and yeah, it's something that might be of interest to a lot of people. So like I said, stay tuned, like, comment, subscribe, dislike, communicate with the channel. It will only help it cater things more towards what you're interested in, and thank you very much.